Senator Al Franken of Minnesota announced his resignation Thursday. Senator Franken said he needed to do right by his constituents, but he also managed to take a jab at President Trump on the way out.
Over the last few weeks, a number of women have come forward to talk about how they felt my actions had affected them. I was shocked. I was upset. But in responding to their claims, I also wanted to be respectful of that broader conversation, because all women deserve to be heard and their experiences taken seriously. Nevertheless, today I am announcing that in the coming weeks, I will be resigning as a member of the United States Senate. I, of all people, am aware that there is some irony in the fact that I am leaving while a man who has bragged on tape about his history of sexual assault sits in the Oval Office, and a man who has repeatedly preyed on young girls campaigns for the Senate with the full support of his party. There is a big part of me that will always regret having to walk away from this job with so much work left to be done. But I have faith that the work will continue, because I have faith in the people who have helped me do it.
Emily Tisch Sussman is a Democratic strategist and campaign director at the Center for American Progress. She joins us now from Washington. So, Emily, what did you make of the senator's remarks? Did he do what he had to do?
I think he did. He came in on a somber note. And look, there's no joy that he's resigning. No one's happy about it. But it was time. It was time for him to resign. There were many allegations against him. It was a drawn-out conversation. And if we want to hold elected officials, we want to hold people in power accountable for sexual assault, we have to do it regardless of party affiliation. And he did take responsibility for that and resigned.
Well, Senator Franken referenced Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore and President Trump, who have both been accused of sexual misconduct. Is he a victim of a double standard?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I think for people to say that, Franken should resign and Moore should be elected and Trump should stay in office, honestly, I think it's treating the American people like they're idiots, like they can't tell the difference. I mean, Franken accepted that he had done something that had harmed many women and took responsibility for it. What the president has done has just outright refused to acknowledge there could be any truth and has painted 17 victims all as liars. And Roy Moore did the exact same thing. And we're talking about serious sexual assault, potentially pedophilia, and they're serial abusers. They obviously have a real problem here. And they won't even take their accusers seriously, won't even dignify them in any way.
As you know, the fact that you had female Democratic lawmakers speak out against Senator Franken was a major factor in his resignation. So where does the party go from here?
Look, I think there were a lot of lawmakers who are on the Democratic side who are willing to say, look, we love this man. We love his politics. He's done a lot of good things for the country. But it's a standard that we just can't hold ourselves to. If there are 8 accusers coming out with a pattern of conduct, you need to resign. And I think the fact that it was Democrats calling for it has highlighted the difference between the way the parties are dealing with it. Just moments ago, Republican Congressman Blake Farenthold had an ethics investigation opened up into the fact that he settled a sexual harassment suit, settled that with one of his staffers, settled that with taxpayer money for $84,000. We haven't heard anything on the Republican side calling for his resignation. And in fact, now the party is going into Alabama for Roy Moore when they had previously decided the allegations against him were too strong and too vile. You know what? They're back in because it's party over people. And that is what people hate about Washington. It's what they hate about politicians.
So is the bottom line here that the Democrats are trying to draw a sharp contrast here when it comes to this issue in particular against what the Republican establishment and the Republican Party has done with regard to these kinds of allegations?
Look, it is drawing a sharp contrast, but that's because that's the way that it's playing out. Democrats were willing to come forward and say, we are willing to draw a hard line here and not stand for this kind of conduct. We are definitely not seeing the same on the Republican side. So if Republicans don't like that contrast, they should do something about it. They should say, we do not want Roy Moore elected. We are calling for President Trump to resign. We are calling for our colleagues. Look, there are reports now that there are 20 to 30 more investigations coming out of congressmen involved in sexual misconduct. This is going to be across party lines. Now the bar has been set with Senator Franken's resignation. Republicans can respond if they don't want it to be a partisan issue.
All right, we'll continue to watch it. Emily Tisch Sussman in Washington. Emily, thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.